So today I'm going to have help from my daughter to do my video.
What is a gauge swatch?
Great question. A gauge swatch is a sample of knitted fabric.
Why do we need a gauge swatch?
It helps you decide, do you like your yarn? Do you like the fabric? Are you using the right size needle? When you do a gauge swatch, you need to wash and dry it. If you don't do this, your gauge swatch is worthless. Your yarn will change after you wash it. It will probably stretch and loosen a little bit. It will probably bloom a bit and look a little thicker and denser than what it did before it was washed. If you try to make decisions based on a gauge swatch that hasn't been washed, you are probably going to be disappointed. All right, you have your knitted, washed, blocked, and dried gauge swatch. What do you do with it? Well, you look at it. Do you like the way it looks? Do you like the way it drapes? Is it too flowy? Is it too thick and chunky? If you like all that, then that's good. If you don't, then now is the time to go back to your stash and possibly pick a different yarn or pick a different size needle. Now, different size needle, that segues into the other thing a gauge swatch does for you. You need to make sure the number of stitches per inch in your gauge swatch match the number of stitches per inch needed for your project. If your project needs 6 stitches per inch and your gauge swatch is measuring 8 stitches per inch, your finished item is going to be way too small for you. You need to switch to bigger needles, do another gauge swatch, wash it, block it, and dry it, and measure again. If you are measuring 4 stitches per inch and you need 6 stitches per inch, your needles are too big. You need to pick smaller needles, do another gauge swatch, wash it, block it, dry it, measure, and then go from there. So, once you have a gauge swatch that looks the way you want it to look and it measures the way you need it to measure to fit your pattern, then you are good to go. You can go cast on your project, get to work, and start making some beautiful knitted items.
When do we use gauge swatch?
In general, I recommend you swatch just about everything you knit. Sweaters, always swatch your sweaters. Always, always, always swatch your sweaters, because it's really disheartening when you've put $100, $200 into a sweater. You've put probably the same amount of time into that sweater, and it doesn't fit you. It really sucks. I did this twice when I was a newbie. I did one sweater that was way too small, like it came up to my waist, it wouldn't fit over my head. It was really bad, and the yarn I used was so like fluffy I couldn't rip it out and re-knit it. I just had to throw the thing away. I was such a beginner, I didn't know about gauge swatches, which meant the second sweater I knit, I also didn't swatch, and it fit me, but it was like wearing a carpet. It was so thick. It was really bad. So that one also I ended up throwing away. I swatched my sweaters ever since. I am going to say you don't need to swatch everything that you knit. There is some risk involved if you don't do swatches, but that is personally risk I'm willing to assume. Some people will not. For me, I do not swatch any of my shawls. Socks. I have 2 or 3 sock yarns I use about 80% of the time, and if I'm using one of those sock yarns, I do not swatch.
If you have any questions, comment below. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.